Hey there, cozy babe, and welcome back to the most cozy corner of the internet. I'm Kloee Taylor, and today we are going to be checking in on your manifestations. Whether you feel like everything has been coming up roses for you, or you feel like your manifestations have been blocked, we are going to suss it out and get to the bottom of it with today's Pick a Card. If you're new to Pick a Cards, allow me to give you a brief introduction. So starting from left to right, we have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, and pile number 4. Each of these piles represents an option for you. So you're going to decide which one of these suits you best, and I will give you some more selectors in a moment to help you decide if you're having a hard time. But then once you have the pile that you are wanting to go with, you're going to click down below in the description and see that there are timestamps available to you. You're going to click on one of those and head right over to your reading. Now, if you need a little extra help deciding, I did go ahead before this reading and actually roll the astrology dice for you. So pile number 1, you got the 9th house, the south node, and the astrological sign of Virgo. Pile number 2, you got the 12th house, the south node as well, and the astrological sign of Aquarius. Pile number 3, you got the 9th house, Mercury, and the astrological sign of Sagittarius. And pile number 4, you got the 10th house, the sun, and the astrological sign of Scorpio. Now, this doesn't mean that that is your sign. They could just have some kind of significance to you. Maybe it's somebody you know in your life. You can go ahead and pause the video here and make your selection, or you can sit with this for a moment with the music that I'm going to have here. And then when you feel ready, go ahead and click that timestamp and you'll be taken straight to your reading. I am going to begin in just a few moments, starting from pile number 1. Pile number 1. So right off the bat, you first and foremost have this card, which says Dare to Dream. And this card, like, first of all, you're holding on to like a big ass diamond. I love that for you. But this card really tells me that if you have, maybe your manifestations are like really simple desires. And trust me, there's nothing wrong with having simple desire, wanting simple things in life, wanting your needs met. There is nothing wrong with having desire like that. But I do feel that your guides are really saying to me that they want you to dream a little bit bigger. They want you to reach a little bit farther. So because I think you're going to actually be pleasantly surprised, and they want you just to really put your, I know that that's so common. It really is. Like, a lot of us don't believe that we can actually have more. And so we won't try to manifest anything bigger. We'll tell ourselves that we're destined for something specific, but that's because ultimately we're afraid to have our dreams crushed or have our hopes crushed. And ultimately, you're being told that you need to dare to dream a little bit bigger. Maybe you're somebody that's even skeptical about manifestation and if it really works, but ultimately, there's a piece of you that you don't allow yourself to actually dream as big as you want to, like you're afraid of it. And there's something there that actually needs to be unblocked or healed, is really what I'm getting. So up next, we have for you the King of Cups. And with the King of Cups card, what this really says to me is that you are somebody that is emotionally very mature. You might be like somebody that doesn't even let your emotions get the best of you. It's not that you don't have them. King of Cups actually really lets their emotions help them to dictate their lifestyle and their life purpose and their life path. But with this King of Cups, I can really see that you're somebody that I feel like you don't let yourself get wrapped up in the emotions of things. And I do feel like this could be a benefit to you in some way. Like, in some ways, this is really beneficial because you don't let yourself get overwhelmed super easily. You have a really calm, cool head on your shoulders. But when it comes to manifestation, some of you, I'm also hearing it's the opposite. Like, you get very overwhelmed very easily. And that's something that you actually need to work on, is emotional regulation, because when you actually get the things that you desire, if you still don't feel emotionally regulated, having what you desire isn't going to regulate you. Like, trust me when I tell you, pile number one, I have been through a lot of financial crisis in my adult life, like a lot more than I think I've ever heard. At least I'm not saying that like I'm so special and it's only ever happened to me, but I feel like at least out of like my friends and the people that I speak to, I have been through the most financial crisis out of everybody. And it's what I have come to learn about that is it's not that like I'm not allowed to have more or better, but I do find that a lot of those crises actually lead me to becoming more of myself because they force me to have to heal parts of my past. And something else I want to say about this is like, you're not destined to just have to deal with that all the time. Whatever it is that you are dealing with, it might not be financial. It could be emotional. It could be overwhelmed. You're not destined to just be overwhelmed for the rest of your life. And Spirit really wants you to know that you can manifest better than that. You can manifest your situation to be better. And then we have for you the King of Coins. Actually, oh wow, you got 2 kings in your pile. So we also have for you the King of Coins, which this is like the King of Pentacles. And with the King of Pentacles, honestly, this tells me that in order for your manifestations to come in for you, like quickly, the way that you want to, what this really says to me is that there is this level of maturity that has to be accessed, because kings do tend to have more of a mature nature to them. That is just like a given with king cards. They are like the more astute, more mature. What this tells me is I also think that there might be like some form of like budgeting that needs to happen. You also could be also manifesting emotional clarity and like financial stability. That definitely, like, that could be a key indicator that you chose the right pile. But I do feel like, oh, you know what? Spirit just said to me, oh my gosh, y'all, some of you are manifesting a partner in your life. Some of you are manifesting someone in your life that will provide for you like this, that will like provide more emotional safety, and that will also provide like basically financially for you. And I just want to say there ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay. It's okay to have your bag and get some more bag too. I will be the first person to tell you, but some of you are actually manifesting this kind of person. And I think some of you feel like that's like, oh, that's a crapshoot. Like I can't have it because we have the Dare to Dream as your significator. It's like, that's bull crap. Like nobody actually operates like that. I'm never going to find a person like that. But ironically, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can literally, when you start to vibrate in this same energy and make room for it in your life, that's when it shows up. And something else that Spirit is asking me to share with you, I'm sorry that this reading the channel has come out kind of crazy. And that's how I can tell it's going to be a hot fire flames reading, is when I feel like I keep being given messages that like so quickly that I almost can't keep up. But Spirit is also saying, back on what I was talking about with emotional regulation. We weren't done talking about that apparently. But with your emotional regulation, something that you need to know, and it sucks, and I will be the first person to tell you, I've been through this myself. I completely understand the situation. It's not easy. It sucks to hear. But when you actually receive, let's say financial stability is what you're after. When you actually receive it, it's not just going to magically solve all of your problems. Yes, it will solve some of the problems. I will not tell you that it doesn't. Like being able to afford to eat, being able to afford your bills, being able to have the bare minimum does so much for humans. And I'm never going to lose touch with that. Okay. I've been through, like I said, a lot of financial crisis myself. I really understand. But the thing is, if you're always in this heightened sense of what's going to go wrong next, you're not feeling emotionally regulated ever. What's going to happen with that is even when you start to receive that goodness in your life, you're then going to start freaking out and being overwhelmed about losing it. And if you can start to emotionally regulate now, when that actually comes in for you, then you're going to be able to hold it instead of it just slipping through your fingers again and putting yourself back in the same position. So just take that for what it is. Okay. Then we have the Queen of Cups here too, which also tells me that really it maybe really is a person that you're manifesting, because King of Cups and Queen of Cups, are you kidding? Mommy and daddy. Literally mommy and daddy energy. Okay. Queen of Cups, King of Cups. It's giving twin flame. It's giving emotional connection. It's giving super couple. It's giving power couple. So if you are trying to manifest a person, this does also tell me that you, in order to manifest a King of Cups person who would be somebody that is like, again, emotionally regulated, can also provide to you emotional stability. Not that you can't have that with yourself, and I think it's imperative that you do, but having it with somebody else, being able to rely on somebody else emotionally and know that they're emotionally available. You have to be that source for yourself first. And also, you need to ask yourself, if you're trying to manifest a specific kind of person, with that kind of person, who would they be looking for? And it's not to say you need to become their ideal, but there might be certain things that you would shift. But I will say this, don't shift anything unless it actually feels good for you, because I don't think we need to focus our entire identity on becoming his or her dream girl. I think it's actually much better to become your own dream girl or dream guy or dream person. For this instance, I feel like I say girl a lot because I'm a girl, but please know that this is for any of y'all. If you want to become somebody's dream person, it's so much better if you become your own dream person first, because when you become your own dream person, you're able to actually connect with people that match your energy so much easier, that want you as you are naturally, instead of trying to fit yourself into a box for somebody else. Okay. And then we also have for you the Chariot card, which I love this in terms of manifestation, because this is about manifesting your purpose. And maybe you feel really purposeless right now, or you feel like you're not connected to a divine purpose and that feels really hard. Spirit is saying that you are on the path right now to actually connecting with your true destiny, with your true calling, your true purpose. And something I just want to say to you, I'm going to make a podcast episode on this in the future, because I think it's something that everybody needs to hear, not just people who come to pile number one. And this is just me, Kloee, speaking for a moment. It's not necessarily a channel. Just give me a minute of your time. When it comes to a life purpose, I think something that we really forget as a collective in the age that we live in is that life purpose, we live in such a privileged time period. We live in the best timeline to live out multiple purposes. It is actually highly unlikely that you will have one purpose for your entire life. And the reason for that is because back in the day, if you had one life purpose, one treasure that you wanted to see manifest more than anything, you would spend your lifetime doing that. If you wanted to be a singer, you were going to travel around to every village to make sure people heard your voice. If you wanted to be a writer, it was the same way. Now, with the click of a button, you can share your work, you can share your music and your song. And no matter what kind of work that you do or what kind of destiny you're after, we live in an age where you can fulfill multiple destinies. For example, in my life, I did gaming for 7 years and I had a great run. When I tell you, I manifested getting invited to Sims Camp with Electronic Arts, the gaming company. I manifested over 100K subscribers on a different YouTube channel. We actually got pretty close to 200K, and now the channel has dwindled because I just don't use it anymore. But I had a really good run. I'm a Twitch partner. I had a very successful, thriving gaming career, and that was my purpose at the time. And eventually my purpose changed, and now I'm fulfilling a new purpose. That is highly likely of today's people in today's world. It is not likely that you will chase one purpose for your entire life. In fact, it's highly unlikely. And I don't know why I don't hear more people talking about this. I feel like I need to spread the word because it's something that everybody's kind of working with this outdated mindset that you need to have a singular purpose when you don't. And it's very unlikely that you will. And it's normal and it's okay to fulfill multiple things in your lifetime. So some of y'all maybe just needed to hear that. But with the Chariot, this means that you're getting on track to a new purpose. If you've been feeling like your life hasn't really felt purposeful, or you've been feeling kind of like all over the place, the Chariot tells me that you really are going to be stepping into a new purpose, a new passion, a new dream, or the one that you've already been working on is actually going to start providing some dividends. Okay. And then we have a leg up. So with this card, polar bears might be significant to you, but with a leg up, this is also about like what you're manifesting. You need to start telling yourself that. Spirit is saying to me, you need to start, instead of telling yourself all the reasons that you can't, Spirit is saying you need to start telling yourself like, actually, I have a leg up. Like when you have a leg up on something, it means like you're already a little bit more advanced. Okay. Like you need to start saying like, I have a leg up. Actually, I already have a leg up. Actually, I'm already really qualified to do this. And like, obviously, if you want to be a brain surgeon, like, don't tell yourself that you have a leg up. Please go to school to be a brain surgeon. But like, what I mean by that is if it's some kind of like creative field, something you're trying to bring in, something you're trying to get really good at or master or create, Spirit is saying you need to start telling yourself that you're already fantastic. This is actually how you start to overcome imposter syndrome as well, is you have to start reminding yourself why you're good at what you do. And every time you have a thought that tells you, actually, I'm not good at this. Actually, it could have been better. Actually, every time you start to critique yourself, you need to turn around and give yourself like 3 positive affirmations. That's my rule of thumb. And you can definitely take that and run with it. But specifically, you need to start telling yourself that you have a leg up. Even if you don't have a leg up, you need to start telling yourself that you do. And then we have community. So this card, community here, with this card, I can see that you are actually working on building or manifesting a community. And Spirit is saying you're going to build it. It is your destiny to attract a community that is supportive of your goals and dreams. It is not only that, but like you also might be doing something that is for the betterment of a community. And Spirit is saying with this community card that you're going to achieve that. You're going to have community around you. Like some of you might just want like genuine in-person community. That might be something that you're after. You want to be part of a community. And Spirit is saying you're going to get that. Like that is something that is on its way to you. Now I have a couple of cards that are just like self-care things that would really help you to basically not be so stressed about manifestation or help things kind of come in quicker. First and foremost, we have the card Read for you. And so with this card, what Spirit is trying to tell you is that instead of saying like, oh, I don't know that, you need to start saying to yourself, but how can I learn? Because if there's something that you feel like you're not good at or can't do, or you're just not where you'd like to be yet, it is so important for you to actually start like researching, learning more, expanding your knowledge. And so this could be like actually studying a specific field. And if you don't have money for books, you can, in fact, go to a local library. There's always lots of information at a local library, or see if there's anybody you know that would be willing to share books. I know that there's also the Libby app, I think is what it's called. If you have a library card and you sign in, you can actually like read books from your local library. So I think it's called Libby. But you're being told that reading would actually really help you right now. And then with this read card, something I'm getting is it's not just like reading self-development or reading for your craft. I'm also hearing that just like reading fiction might actually just be a good way for you to relax and help you emotionally regulate. Okay, then we also have for you positive affirmation. Oh my gosh, y'all. I was literally just telling you that you're reading specifically with leg up. I do feel like your reading is a lot about positive affirmation and telling yourself why you can have something, telling yourself that yes, you can instead of no, you can't. And so positive affirmation for you, you might be somebody that's more prone to like clairaudience, which there are different kinds of psychic gift. I believe everybody has one, if not all of them, but some are more stronger than others. If you are really prone to clairaudience, which is like having like audio sensitory, having like clear hearing, Spirit is saying if you are clairaudience, positive affirmation will work really well for you. So like go with where your strongest clair is, but ultimately positive affirmation will work well. Okay, and then we also have some lucky numbers for you that are going to help you know that your manifestation is on its way. So we have number 8, which says, I am successful. And I'm going to read this first and then I'll show it to you again. Your talent for setting and reaching goals is like no other. You are self-sufficient and capable of achieving your ambitions. 8 representing the ebb and flow, the infinite loop of creation. I am successful. Yes, bestie. I love it. So the number 8 might just also be significant on your path for you. And then secondarily, we also have 222, I am balanced, which says, trust that the seeds of your thought are growing as you are nourishing them with words, feelings, and action. I am balanced. So if you see 222, know that your manifestations are much closer than you think. This is like a lucky symbol for you. And if this reading resonated with you, please leave me this emoji down below in the comment section so I know which pile you chose, and tell me what you've been manifesting and how it's been going. I genuinely take the time to read every response in the comment section, so I can't wait to see what you've been manifesting. If you would like to support me a little bit more and get some extra content for yourself, please consider supporting me on my Patreon. Every single week, I sit down and I channel astrology, tarot, and bibliomancy for you. And every single month, I give you the theme with tarot. And every single month, depending on which tier you join my Patreon at, I also do community events and we do bonus content, which can include things like vlogs, equipment overviews, extra pick a cards, extra astrology videos. My Patreon is such a good time and I would love to have you over there as a cozy babe. And if you want even more free content from me, please do consider checking out my podcast. It's called The Cozy Babes Club, and it is literally all things cozy. We talk about mental health, we talk about trends, we talk about everything under the sun. I love my podcast. It's such a great source, I feel like, of more from me, but just it's like where all the context comes together. So if you follow me on socials or anywhere else, the podcast to me gets like all the BTS. So definitely check out my podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Link for that down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and don't forget to stay cozy out there. All right, pile number 2, starting out, we have for you the card, the Revolutionary. So what this tells me about your reading specifically is that you really are somebody that has a lot of very strong ideals, strong opinions, strong desire to uplift the collective. That is like a big thing for you. Community is a big thing for you. You might be manifesting a community of some kind. I will tell you, pile number 1 also spoke a little bit about community. So if you felt called to one of those like pile number 1 as well, sorry, not one of those. If you felt called to pile number 1 as well, this is a sign that they might be linked. But I do feel like you are here to like start a revolution of a kind. And it could be just like in your town. It could be more global. And you are somebody that has a very strong sense and desire of what you came here to do. Okay. You might even be one of those people that's like, you've always known that you were destined to do something great, but let's go ahead and see what else we have for you here. So that's just like a sign that this is your reading. So first and foremost, or secondly rather, we have the Ace of Swords for you. And in the Ace of Swords, again, you're somebody that's very opinionated. You really like to use your voice, whether it's by actually speaking or writing. I feel like the Ace of Swords is like a very strong powerhouse of using your voice in some way that's really impactful, making an impact. I'm hearing the words making an impact for you. We also have the card of the Patron, which this card is so cool because this deck, I want to say, was actually funded by the creator's patrons. And so this is like a card for Patreon. But there's two things that I love about this card. Number one, kind of like I already said, you're here for community. You're here to like start a revolution with a community possibly. And within this card, so community, number one. Number two, there's a mirror here. It's all about self-reflection. We are all connected to each other. And the more that you self-reflect, the more that you can self-report, become more self-aware, but the more that you also recognize that what one person says or does or thinks, it all reflects back internally. And we are all connected. And I feel like you have like you're a very aware person. Okay. I can see that like your energy, I'm not going to lie to you, it's a little intimidating. And I don't feel like I'm an easily intimidated person, but your energy, I won't lie, as I'm connecting with it, it is a little intimidating for me. And I don't think you intend to be intimidating. I think most people who are intimidating don't mean to be. I think it just kind of happens, but I really get the sense that your energy is a little intimidating, but it's because you have such a strong desire for change. And I also see here that we have the Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Swords, what's interesting is you might have a strong sense of self, or not a strong sense of self, a strong sense of purpose and what you have come here to do at this time. But I do feel like you struggle with a lot of self-deprecation or self-limiting thought. And Spirit is saying with this card that you actually can overcome that. That is something that is fully in your power to manifest, that you can call in a stronger sense of self, and you actually can stop participating in imposter syndrome, which is, I feel like the Eight of Swords really is like an imposter syndrome kind of card. But Spirit is saying like through the lens of community and gaining community and outside perspective and basically letting other people's voices be amplified by yours, you can actually start to really overcome imposter syndrome with that and kind of manifest it away. Now, we also have for you the 10 of Wands. So the 10 of Wands tells me that you're also not somebody who like shirks on responsibility. You're a very responsible individual. You're somebody that like takes your callings very seriously. You're somebody that you really are here to like, you're not afraid of hard work. You're not afraid of hard work at all. And 10 of Wands does tell me though that sometimes you want to burn really bright, really fast, especially with this torch here with the revolutionary. But the thing is, I'm not telling you to slow down, especially if you're in your 20s. Okay. If you're in your 20s and you're listening to this reading, I am not telling you to slow down. Like, I honestly think that not for everyone, of course. That's why these readings are not designed to be for everyone. So some of this stuff might not resonate with you specifically, but I do feel like this message that I'm about to give might be for somebody specific. But there might be something else in the rest of the pile for you, others. But if you're in your 20s and this is like really resonating with you, I just need you to know like your 20s are for that. Okay. As somebody that is in their early 30s, your 20s are really for that. Your 20s, like if you feel like you knew that you had a calling coming into this lifetime, if you feel like you have always had a purpose to do something big or something great, your 20s are really for building that. And I'm not saying you can't build it at 30, at 40, at 50, at 60. You can do things at any time in your life, but this is something that your guides are telling me for you specifically. Your 20s are for that, and you know that. And so it's not time to give up or throw in the towel. You're not even close to that. But just know it's okay to also ask for help from community. Don't be so focused on doing it all by yourself, maybe because you've had some doors closed on you before. don't become so hyper independent that you don't accept help or love from community, because this whole thing for you is about community, pile number 2. So with this 10 of Wands though, you will exhaust yourself, and not in like a good, healthy way where you're like, that was such a great day of hustling. Hitting the bed or hitting the sack or hitting the sheets feels so good tonight. Not in that kind of way. The 10 of Wands is where it is overwhelming. So just know, like, it's okay to accept help from community. You don't have to do this all by yourself. In fact, revolutions are not created by somebody doing something single-handedly. A revolution can be started by one person, but it is actually enacted with the help of community that things really get rolling. So just keep that in mind. Now, back to everybody else. So what I can see about manifesting with this, though, is you will have a community that supports the change you want to create. You will be able to use your voice and your words to make this real. And the thing to know about this is, like, it's okay to want to burn really big, really bright, really fast, really hot. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, if you feel like you're a very fiery person, I would encourage you to capitalize on that. Like, from one fire person to another, I understand that energy. You want to burn really big, really bright, really hot, really fast. And it doesn't mean that you're a fire sign, like astrologically speaking. You might have a fire sign in your big 3, which is going to be Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries. But it doesn't have to mean that. You can have a lot of passion without having that. But ultimately, just know that it is important that you do take care of yourself as you're doing this. Now, I also have for you the card Round and Round. So I will say, I do feel like you deal with a little bit of a repeating pattern, pile number 2, that maybe is something you don't love, but something you need to know about patterns that repeat in your life is oftentimes, I would encourage you, if you don't listen to Aaron Doughty, to listen to some of his videos. He's a YouTuber here that talks a lot about how he kept being introduced to the same pattern of, like, his narcissistic stepmother. And, like, he would find her in new people constantly. And until he turned around and actually forgave her and the situation, that was when his entire life shifted after that. And I'm not saying that you always need to, like, forgive a narcissist. Okay. That's his story. But ultimately, when you go round and round and round with the same problem and it keeps coming up in new ways as you're trying to build something really exciting, Spirit is saying that there is a lesson to be learned. And when you learn that lesson, that's when you'll get off the wheel. So you can even ask for clarity from your guides, like, what is the lesson I'm supposed to be learning from this? Because sometimes you're just blind to what the lesson is, but sometimes you also need to see it from a multitude of perspectives. That's something that I can speak to in my own life. I feel like, especially when it comes to, we're going to get a little personal here for a minute. I hope that's okay. Especially when it comes to my relationship with my mother, I feel like I have seen that relationship through every single angle. And y'all already know, I believe that my mother is a narcissist, or at least, at the very least, has narcissistic tendency. Growing up with both my parents, they were both very abusive people. And it took me a really long time to see that and be able to even, like, admit to it, because it felt normal as a kid, because that was all that I knew. But the thing is, when I feel like I forgave an aspect of it, I would be met with, like, a kind of similar to Aaron's story, actually. I would, like, meet a new friend that would show me another aspect of that. And this has happened like 3 different times now in my life, where I see how my mom continuously shows up in my life, but, like, as a different person. And actually, that's funny. I've never realized that until this very moment, that I have a very similar story to Aaron Doughty's story. And it wasn't until I finally have seen it from every single angle. Like, what I mean by that is, like, I've been the person sometimes that hasn't always been the best. Not that I think I am a narcissist, but, like, I have been the person that has acted in a way from my own wounds, which is what narcissism is. I have also been the person that has been, treated really unfairly or poorly from others. And I don't tell you this because I want pity in any sense of the matter. It was such a good growing experience for me. I'm actually grateful for it. But my point to that is like, when I finally asked to be released, I feel like I just got met with like every different angle of like feeling out that entire situation. And it's almost like you heal from one aspect, but then you're introduced again. And when you're introduced again, you see it from a different aspect, and on and on and on and on until that situation in your life is healed. So anyway, that was a really long-winded explanation, actually. But with Round and Round, I do feel like this really frustrates you. Like maybe you get really far in what you're trying to manifest and do here, and then it's like something stops you, and you're just like, why does this problem keep resurfacing? So I also see that you have the card of Blessed, which is a really beautiful card, especially for manifestation, because this tells me that literally your guidance system in this lifetime, you are actually opening up to a very blessed chapter right now. They are blessing you. Don't forget to be open to that and to ask for it. Like, I feel like guides cannot work without your permission. And maybe that's why it's that way, is because I believe it's that way. But I feel like they really can't work on your behalf without your permission. And so you have to ask them like, hey, intervene here for me. This is hard for me. Can you assist me? Can you help me? And I feel like the second you open up to that, you're going to see how blessed and how much easier things actually get for you. Now, I do have a couple of cards that are more on like the self-care thread of things. These are just things that you need to do right now that probably would really help you get off this round around merry-go-round thing that we've got going on. But first and foremost, and please don't let this card scare you. Like, this is not meant to be a scary thing. Just let me explain. We do have the card of health checkup. And I say that because I understand, as somebody that struggles with health anxiety myself, seeing a card like this could really freak me out. But I just want you to know that like, this doesn't mean that you have something detrimental. I don't do predictions like that. I do not do predictions in the realm of health. So like, please know that it's not that. But just having a genuine health checkup could really help you. Maybe you deal with like a lot of brain fog, and it's something as simple as switching up a vitamin regimen that could help you with that. So don't hesitate to go and get a health checkup. Spirit is saying that this is something that could actually help benefit this situation. And then we also have for you, look to the stars. So what this card tells me is it's time to get serious about studying astrology. Okay. I am a firm believer in astrology. I am an astrologer. I am a really big advocate for astrology. I've manifested some of the coolest things in my life utilizing astrology. And if you don't know anything about it, I would honestly say start with the book Moonology by Yasmin Boland. One of the best books I've ever read on astrology, mostly because it is easy to understand. I don't feel like it's like the most advanced book in the world, but it is something that if you don't know anything about astrology, it's a book that can really help you. It's easy, very beginner friendly. It helps you to track basic astrology and moon cycles. And I'm big on lunar magic. I feel like lunar magic is some of the most potent that we have on planet Earth. And because of that, that's like the magic that I choose to use in my own practice. But Spirit is saying that in order to amplify your manifestations, you do need to look to the stars and kind of plot things out based on that. Now we have some lucky numbers for you. These are things that are going to tell you that your manifestation is close. So we have for you number 28. I am a leader. Well, girl, we could have told you that. We knew you were a leader with this revolution card. But it says, in an effort to accomplish great things, you recognize the value of working with others. You make a capable and compassionate leader who can bring people together and drive a team towards achievements. I am a leader. Y'all. So number 28, if you start seeing 28 everywhere, this is a sign for you. Okay, and then we also have numbers 111. It says, I am creative. Angels are ready to fully support you in this endeavor so that you could co-create with the universe a life you love. And then it says, I am creative. So 111 or even 1111 might be another symbol for you. Those are such good cards for this reading too. I feel like they're just really on point with what we've been talking about. So I love it. If this reading resonated with you, please leave me this emoji down below in the comment section so I know which pile you chose, and tell me what you've been manifesting and how it's been going. I genuinely take the time to read every response in the comment section, so I can't wait to see what you've been manifesting. If you would like to support me a little bit more and get some extra content for yourself, please consider supporting me on my Patreon. Every single week I sit down and I channel astrology, tarot, and bibliomancy for you. And every single month I give you the theme with tarot, and every single month, depending on which tier you join my Patreon at, I also do community events and we do bonus content, which can include things like vlogs, equipment overviews, extra pick a cards, extra astrology videos. My Patreon is such a good time and I would love to have you over there as a cozy babe. And if you want even more free content from me, please do consider checking out my podcast. It's called The Cozy Babes Club, and it is literally all things cozy. We talk about mental health, we talk about trends, we talk about everything under the sun. I love my podcast. It's such a great source, I feel like, of more from me, but just it's like where all the context comes together. So if you follow me on socials or anywhere else, the podcast to me gets like all the BTS. So definitely check out my podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Link for that down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and don't forget to stay cozy out there. All right, pile number 3, we're going to start with these 2 cards for you. So you actually got 2, everybody else got 1. You got an extra card for yours. So right now we have for you the card of boundaries, which honestly, I love this card when it comes out because I always think it's a good, especially because I feel like a lot of sensitives are attracted to my channel. And so boundaries are always a positive thing in my opinion. Okay. And then we have the Magi card for you. So what these both say to me for your reading in terms of manifestation is, number 1, I do feel like you need to have better boundaries, and that will actually make your manifestations come in faster. Because here's the thing. If you, I wish I could remember the quote, but there was this wonderful quote that I heard recently that was like, if you just let everything into your mind all the time, you literally become a sewer. Like your mind will become a sewer. And this doesn't mean that you can't be open to opinions. You can't be open to criticism. You can't be open to seeing all sides of a spectrum and letting yourself live in what I like to call the shaded gray instead of black or white thinking. I actually think this is a really good place to live, but you need to remember that sometimes too much is too much. And you don't need to be listening to every news article, every news outlet. You don't need to wake up in the morning and read the morning paper or read Twitter, whatever it is that you do. It makes your mind literally into a dumping ground for anybody's opinion or anybody's information. And that's not always the healthiest thing for you. And on top of that, not just having boundaries with your mind, but having boundaries with people. And I do feel like as a collective, this is more of a recent thing that a lot of us are learning. It's not old. But when you have boundaries with people, you might be somebody that like people are really attracted to your energy. You're always giving certain people a lot of your time, but they don't live their lives in a way that you would aspire to live, or they like constantly suck the positive energy out of you. And the thing is, you don't owe them anything. It's actually really okay and good for everyone involved if you set a boundary and decide to spend less time together. Because boundaries, like your boundaries are your boundaries, and you get to decide who gets to cross them and who doesn't. Nobody else gets to decide if your boundaries are okay or if they're acceptable. Only you get to decide that. So when I see boundaries coming out, this does tell me that you need to guard yourself and your energy a little bit better. And that would actually really help you, because I do see that you're somebody that is a very like magical being. Okay. You having the Magi does have like a little bit of trickster energy in it, but I also feel like the Magi is such an indicator of being like a master manifester, of being somebody who is very magical, like lives in magical thinking. Okay. So this is something that you lose when you don't have boundaries, when you just kind of let yourself be open to anything. And then we have for you, let's see what these next cards are. So we have the Four of Wands, and with the Four of Wands, what I can really tell from this is you are manifesting a celebration of some kind, like maybe a celebration, a party of some kind, or you're manifesting like a really cool wedding, or you're manifesting like there's definitely something about a gathering and celebrating that you're manifesting right now. And because you're receiving this, this does kind of indicate to me that you will get it. But we also have the Five of Cups coming in right after that. I'm also hearing from Spirit that like ravens or corvids, crows, any kind of bird, like a black bird of a kind, might be significant to you. Like you might just feel like a kinship to them. But when I see Five of Cups, this tells me that the reason these manifestations haven't been showing up is because you are constantly focusing on what you don't have. Instead of trying to make what you do have work for you, you are constantly focused on what you don't have. Like, for example, okay, I, as a creator, could get really in my feelings that my YouTube videos they haven't been for the last little while receiving as high of views. Like things haven't been as great as they once were when my channel really blew up. Or I could stop myself and be like, Kloee, more than 10,000 people watch every single video that comes out. That is just insane. I couldn't even imagine 10,000 people in the same room with me. And so like to be ungrateful and to be like, oh, but my videos used to get like 60 or 70,000 views. Like that is Five of Cups energy. And that's something that like anybody that is in my same field could fall prey to. It's easy for that to happen, actually. Like the algorithm makes it so easy for you to see all of that and feel bad about yourself. But not sitting in that energy and deciding like, no, so many people still watch, and like the work that I do does provide value. You know, I could sit here and kind of like think about all the things that I am able to do because of the career that I have, instead of focusing on what isn't or hasn't been happening in like the recent past. Okay. So when I see Five of Cups here, this tells me that there is an energy that you're constantly looking at what you don't have instead of turning around and looking at the good things you do have. And don't get me wrong, when you've been waiting for a manifestation for a really long time, it can feel horrible when you're just not receiving, when you feel like you're suffering loss after loss after loss and you're just not receiving. It can be hard to focus on the bright side. But something I can tell you is, number one, your thoughts really do become things. And if you are focused even a little bit, even a tiny bit, even just like right before you go to bed, you start to focus a little bit more on that intention, it will shift the entire reality that you live in. Just give it a try. Like when you kind of the way that like when you go to sail a ship, if you change the direction by even 1 degree, you end up at a totally different place. Where it's kind of the same with shifting your own perspective. If you shift your perspective by 1%, you will end up at a totally different destination. So Five of Cups says you need to focus a little more intently on what you do want and less on what you don't. So I feel like this also goes hand in hand with the boundaries. If you put your energy on the things and the people that you do want, you won't have space to think about all the things that you don't have. Okay, I also do see that some of you are manifesting love, because we do have the Two of Cups coming out, and we are now officially, obviously these readings are timeless. Whenever you hear them is when you're meant to hear them. But if you're listening to this when it is more current, we did just enter Libra season, which is the season of relationships. You'll notice that people tend to get married more in Libra season. I got married in Libra season 10 years ago this week. I got married in Libra season. It's very common. People get married in Taurus and Libra season, which is like May and October ish, because they do kind of overlap from April to May and then September to October. But Libra season is the season of relationships, is very Venusian. I do feel like you're trying to manifest a better relationship. You could already be in one and you just want the relationship to be better, or you could be single and you're tired of being single like a Pringle. You want the relationship. And Spirit is saying that you have the capacity and the power to manifest this relationship. You have the power and capacity to have a harmonious, beautiful relationship. And I know that because we also have the Nine of Cups coming out. The Nine of Cups is literally the card in the tarot that depicts manifestation. It is about manifesting your desires, getting your desires met, and having your wishes fulfilled. So something else I'm going to tell you, pile number 3, is you really are meant to be living in the end result. So I would encourage you to look up on YouTube Rita Kaminsky. She is such a, what a queen. She has changed my life for the better. She talks about practicing SATs, which I think is like state akin to sleep or something. I think that actually it's state akin to sleep. She also talks about like living in the end result. And I've also heard about like doing Delulu days. That's another thing. If any of this sounds like you've never heard of it before, or you've never heard of Rita Kaminsky before, just a quick YouTube search will bring all that up. But living in the end result and deciding that the end is all that there is, like with your partner, with your celebration, living in that moment as much as possible will draw it to you. And I say this because with the Nine of Cups, look at how content this little rat, I think it's a rat, or is it a bull? I actually can't tell because I don't see a rat tail. So I'm not sure what this is, but it looks like maybe a rat. I don't know. Usually it's a guy in other decks. But what I can tell you about it is with that, this is a card of contentment. It's being content because you manifested everything that you wanted. So the more that you can get yourself into this state of being content with what you have, having the appropriate boundaries, blocking out, like, don't get me wrong. I don't think this works for everyone in every single thing in every single situation. But for you right now, receiving this reading, you are somebody that needs to live more in the end and literally block out the noise that doesn't put you there. So like if people are putting down what you want, stop talking to those people. And like be a little more selfish with your time and with your energy, because it's how you're going to get what you want. And there are people out there that will support the endeavors that you're going after, I promise. Okay. So the next card we have for you is the Observer. So with this card, I do feel that you are meant to start observing the good things that are in your life. You are meant to start observing what in your life is actually going correctly, how in your life you're actually bringing what you're asking for. You are meant to start noticing these things more and like really kind of making a big deal out of them. Like, for example, I have a couple of these and you can take these if you want to use them in your own life, but like, something that I use in my life, I don't even know where I freaking got this because it's not mine. It came from somebody else. But gold cars, bit like stark gold, not like a champagne gold, but like gold, like obnoxious yellow gold. You don't see obnoxious yellow gold cars very often. But I tell myself that when I see a yellow gold car, it means abundance. It means that abundance is coming my way. It means that I'm in alignment with abundance. And the more that I am in alignment with abundance, the more I genuinely see yellow gold cars on the road all the time. And I have made that a symbol to myself that means something. You can do this too. You can take the gold cars if you want to. I chose gold cars because I don't feel like there's a lot of them. Like I wouldn't choose a red car because I feel like there's a lot of red cars. So my subconscious knows that. But gold cars, I feel like, are not as consistent or as frequent. So it's like you need to choose a spiritual symbol that means something to you and then observe when it shows up. Because what this is going to do is it's going to show you how the universe is actually playing the game with you, the game of life, how you are co-creating your reality. It's going to take it to a very small scale level and show you that your thoughts really do become reality. Because I do get the instance that you don't 100% believe it, and that's the hardest part for you. Now, we also have for you the card of Yin. So this tells me, especially those of you that are manifesting love, romance, or a relationship, you might be somebody that identifies as male. And even if that's the case, it doesn't matter. Like, you still have feminine or yin energy inside of you. But something I will say is, if you're manifesting a specific partner, your yin energy is what is missing. You need to bring more yin energy into your reality. So, oh gosh, I feel like another person that's really good at this kind of stuff is Mia Magic here on YouTube. She also does like other stuff, like she's on socials, Mia Magic. So is Rita, but Mia Magic talks all about how she manifested her partner and like really got herself into the energy of play, of sacred sexuality. And then like her partner came into her life maybe like a few months later, and she's been with him for like so many years. But ultimately, if you're trying to call in a specific divine kind of partnership, you need to become somebody that really expresses your divine feminine. And I do believe that this is subject to any person. You don't have to listen to any one person's definition of what it means to be in your divine feminine. You can just decide that you have feminine energy inside of you. And so the way that you do things is divinely feminine. I think that that's a perfectly fine explanation of it. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. It's your own path and your own way of looking at it. But what to you represents divine feminine, and how can you include that in your life more? So this also comes down to like making room in your life for that person. Like, this is going to sound so silly, but I swear to you, shit like this works. It's like, if you imagine you're going to wake up every day and your partner is going to make you coffee and like bring it to you in bed, you need to start doing that for yourself. Get up in the morning, make your cup of coffee, put it next to your bedside, lay back down, close your eyes for a minute or so, and then pretend that it's you waking up to that cup of coffee. Imagine that person handing it to you. It doesn't have to be a specific person, though. If you want to manifest a specific person, I believe that that's possible too. But like, that's just one example. You have to be the person that brings that into your present reality until it becomes real. That's something that's like a practice that's going to help you. Now, I do have a couple notes of self-care that are also going to like help you manifest these things more. So we do have the card of sex for you. And this card, I do feel like this could be with another person, but this also could be just like practicing by yourself, if you know what I'm saying. This card is all about like getting into sacred sexuality, getting into your own sense of euphoria, your own, like, I'm not going to say the words because I feel like YouTube is going to like drop my video if I do, but you know what I'm saying, a solo moment, if you will. Okay. Getting more into that, giving that to yourself more, that is going to bring more of it into your life in general, but also bring a person that could, do that with you if that's something that you want. Now, please know, if you're somebody that's asexual or does not require this, just disregard, take what resonates and leave the rest. And the next card we have for you is the card of rest. So with this card, this means you need to be getting more sleep, taking your sleep hygiene very seriously, taking your nighttime routine very seriously, and resting. Because I will say, I do believe for myself, again, please make up your own definition of what it means. But for me, I do think of divine feminine energy as being a little more rested. I don't feel like it is an action-oriented energy. And so when I'm resting more, that's when I'm sinking deeper into my divine feminine energy for myself. So this could just be a notion that maybe you need to be doing a little more of that. Okay. Now, I also have some cards for you that these are like numbers that are going to help you know that your manifestations are on the way. So you have a couple. We have number 10, which I'm going to read first and then I'll show it closer. It says, you have great leadership skills. Your mind is sharp and allows you to dream up ingenious ideas and organize all the details. Then direct others how to carry things out. I am ingenious. And you got number 10. So I would say ones and zeros are just like really important to you right now. If you see them, it means your manifestation is on its way. And then we also have 666, which I know people think this card is like the mark of the beast, 666. No, 666 is actually a very spiritual number. And I don't have all the details on it, but it's not the mark of the beast. Like a quick Google search could actually teach you a lot about this. But it says a wake-up call for you to re-examine your current situation and change the direction of your thoughts so you can raise your vibration to a more positive frequency. I am centered. So sixes are going to be really important to you, and probably seeing the numbers actually 666 are going to be really important to your manifestations, showing you that they're coming. It's not the mark of the beast, I promise. If this reading resonated with you, please leave me this emoji down below in the comment section so I know which pile you chose, and tell me what you've been manifesting and how it's been going. I genuinely take the time to read every response in the comment section, so I can't wait to see what you've been manifesting. If you would like to support me a little bit more and get some extra content for yourself, please consider supporting me on my Patreon. Every single week, I sit down and I channel astrology, tarot, and bibliomancy for you. And every single month, I give you the theme with tarot. And every single month, depending on which tier you join my Patreon at, I also do community events and we do bonus content, which can include things like vlogs, equipment overviews, extra pick a cards, extra astrology videos. My Patreon is such a good time and I would love to have you over there as a cozy babe. And if you want even more free content from me, please do consider checking out my podcast. It's called The Cozy Babes Club, and it is literally all things cozy. We talk about mental health, we talk about trends, we talk about everything under the sun. I love my podcast. It's such a great source, I feel like, of more from me, but just it's like where all the context comes together. So if you follow me on socials or anywhere else, the podcast to me gets like all the BTS. So definitely check out my podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Link for that down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and don't forget to stay cozy out there. All right, pile number 4. We're going to go ahead and start with this first card. We have for you the Sage. And what this really says to me is you are somebody that has a lot of wisdom. And the thing about being a sage or having sage wisdom is it's not just about being really wise. The sage actually knows when to share wisdom and when not to. Like that's the vibe of the sage, is like when somebody needs to hear something, when they don't, not forcing an opinion or forcing an expression on someone. And I do feel like you are somebody that's really wise beyond your years. And because of that, this actually helps, I feel like, your manifestations by not trying to force anything or force outcomes. Now, we also have for you the 3 of Wands, which this tells me that maybe you're manifesting a little bit of travel, because the 3 of Wands is all about like travel overseas. I do feel like it could be more short term. This isn't like months overseas. It could just be like a short-term trip overseas. But I do see that that is something you've been trying to manifest, is travel. Now, I also see that we have the 6 of Swords. This also is a card that talks about travel, but it's travel with a purpose, right? This is like traveling to find yourself, traveling to meet somebody that could change your life, traveling to a mentor, traveling to possibly some kind of an event or like a retreat, something like that. Because 6 of Swords is like a rite of passage. It's also the card that talks about like transforming through leaving something that feels safe behind. So I do feel like travel is a big part of your manifestation right now. We also have for you the Moon card, and the Moon card, this is all about your shadow self, shadow work. Honestly, I don't feel like you're a stranger to this. I don't feel like you're a stranger to this at all, pile number 4. You might be somebody that does a lot of shadow work pretty consistently. You're really on like the healing path, the healing journey. And then we also have for you the 8 of Wands. And I think that's because through healing your emotions, diving deep, you recognize that it pushes you forward a lot faster. You recognize that opportunities come to you a lot faster. You're kind of on like a very accelerated path, I feel. And I say that because I don't feel like these cards, they're not quiet. These cards are honestly kind of loud. Meaning the moon and the 8 of wands, like the moon, once again, we're talking about like the emotional fulfillment, the emotions behind things. I feel like you have a very deeper understanding of how the mind and the emotional body works. You might even be somebody that is a healer and you're trying to take things to the next level. And so you feel like traveling will actually open that for you, take things to the next level. Maybe you're going to go and actually seek a sage wisdom from somewhere else. I don't know why, but I got like a specific vision right now of the birthing cave in Arizona. That might be like a specific location that you need to go to, or you want to like plan a trip to, or you're manifesting a trip to. If not, like just take what resonates and leave the rest. But I got a very specific vision of sitting in that cave. So like a person sitting in that cave, which I've never been there myself. I don't know nothing about that cave. But in any case, I do feel that when it comes to manifesting, you know that it is through like clearing your energy body. And this is information that's like coming directly through source right now. Like I feel like my third eye and like around my nose feel really weird right now. Sometimes channeling does like things to the body, not in a bad way, but like just in general, it can bring sensations up in the body. So you might be somebody that like you are a clear channel yourself and you channel through your third eye. Right now, I'm just telling you things also for confirmation that this is your reading. So I do feel that because you are a healer yourself. You might even be a tarot card reader yourself, or somebody that does some form of divination. We also have for you time for a nap. I feel like you definitely do a lot. You do a lot. You see a lot. You think a lot. You might be really prone to overthinking. But I also feel like in terms of your manifestations coming in, you've been really, really, really focused on like, how can I make this happen? What do I need to heal? What do I need to do? And in reality, it's not that you need to do anything. You actually need to claim your rest a little bit more. Spirit is saying that it's actually really important for you to claim rest and to take liberties to get more rest right now. Now, we also have the card of truth be told. And again, you're somebody that's very wise. You might even be somebody that's very opinionated. There's been a lot of opinionated people coming through the channel today, actually. But you're somebody that really wants to know the truth. Like you want to uncover the hidden truths and mysteries of the world. You might be really fascinated by like esoteric knowledge. You want to manifest knowing the truth. That is like really important to you, that you know the truth of things, and you won't settle until you get to the bottom of something. Honestly, it's giving strong Virgo energy, this reading. I feel like Virgo and also Sagittarius really vibe in this kind of energy. They're very big truth seekers. They want to know the truth and the facts of things, but that doesn't mean that you're a Virgo or a Sag, but you might be, sun, moon, rising. But truth be told tells me that you are always trying to manifest the truth. You just want the truth. You want to get to the bottom of something. Like even when it comes to the way that you deal with your body, or handle your body, you don't just like eat something because somebody else tells you it's healthy. You want to know the facts and figures logically of why this thing is healthy and what it could do for your body. You're not just somebody that will take information in willy-nilly. And I think because of that, it's why you're a little bit more patient with other people. But in terms of manifesting, what this is telling me is you are manifesting travel. It is going to come in very quickly. It is a learning experience that will come. You will be healing something really major for yourself through this. Like I'm hearing like past life healing. You're actually, when you travel, you're going to like channel into a past life version of yourself that you're going to actually heal. And you're going to require a lot of rest afterwards, but it's going to be a truth that you don't know how to unsee. Like you won't be able to unsee it. You won't be able to unknow it. It's something that is going to ring so true and so loud for you that you won't be able to deny it, basically. And then we have for you, these are a couple of like self-care cards of things that can kind of help you right now to bring this manifestation about. We have for you connect with fire. This is going to be like candle magic, fire rituals, even just sitting around a bonfire with others like this image suggests would be really great. But connecting with the element of fire a little bit more. And that doesn't surprise me because when you're actually trying to manifest travel, especially quickly, fire can be an ally because fire magic, if you didn't know, fire magic is very passionate, very burns really bright, really hot, really fast, but it helps things to come in quicker. Like if you want something to come in at a slow, steady pace, you're going to go with water. If you want something to come in fast, I would always recommend fire as the number one, air as the secondary. So like smoke, things like that. But water and earth are always going to bring things in more steady and more slowly. So like, this is why like when you manifest using like plants or something, things will come in more steadily, but it's going to be slower. And honestly, that's probably why I love like candle magic so much, is because it makes things work really quickly. It's like lightning fast. But Spirit is ultimately saying connecting with fire could actually bring this about a lot faster if you're looking for haste or quickness right now. Then we have for you clean your space. Oh my gosh, I knew it was the Virgos listening to this reading, the Virgo placements, because clean your space, this card is literally telling you like clean your house. And let me just share with you for a moment how perfect this is and how like if you're new to this, just let me tell you a little story, okay? Short story. But recently, I have really been wanting to upgrade my wardrobe, like badly. And I go through this probably a couple of times a year. And I feel like if I actually had the finances all the time to spend on high quality clothes, I wouldn't feel this way. I wouldn't feel the need to replace things frequently because it's not a style thing. Like right now, my style, I do feel like some of the things I like to wear are a little on trend, but it's stuff that like I want quality because I don't care when the trends fade. I'm going to keep wearing it because it's like what suits my apple shaped body. And the thing is, I had no idea how clothes were going to come to me. I just knew that if I cleaned out my closet and made room for these clothes, that they would come. And so I did that over the course of about 2 days. I went through my closet because my closet, like that's one complaint I have about this house is love this house. She's magnificent. I literally want to buy this house someday, but it doesn't really have the best storage. Like there are closets, but there's not enough of them based on how many rooms are in this house. Like 2 of the rooms aren't even rooms because they don't have closets. They couldn't market them as bedrooms because they don't have closets. There is not a ton of storage space. So like my closet, though it has clothes in it, it also has a ton of other stuff stored in it. Even though I have a relatively large closet, it's being utilized for a lot of storage. So I cleaned out my whole closet, and tell me why I literally manifested an entire new wardrobe in under a week. And it wasn't like I just manifested a bunch of money to buy that. Things were given to me. I found really good things like secondhand. Like it just happened to coincide so well. And I wasn't even looking for it. I was just like, I'd really like a new wardrobe, so I'm going to make space for it. And then it all just kind of happened. And I added up like the total of what everything would have been full price had I done that. And it was like over $1,000. And that just like, I didn't spend that, but it just goes to show that like when you make the space, it will come. So that's something that Spirit is saying, like whatever you're wanting in your life, if it's a significant other, let's say, you need to clean up the side of the bed that they would sleep on. If it's you want to manifest like somebody, a personal chef, you need to keep the kitchen space organized and clean. If you want to manifest a wardrobe, you need to go through your closet, clean it out, organize it, donate the things that you don't wear. If you're wanting a new couch, you need to make the space for that couch to come in and clean up the room that it would go in. That's what I'm saying. Like if you want to travel, you need to clean out your luggage, clean out the things that you would use for travel, prepare your things. Like don't pack your bag, obviously, like don't put your toothbrush in there. Don't put your deodorant away, but like go through your suitcase, wipe it out, clean it out, smoke, cleanse it out, and make it ready for travel. Like If you're going to go by car, vacuum out and clean your car and get it ready for a road trip. That is how you will bring this in. Okay, and lastly, I do have a couple of number cards for you. These are like numbers that are going to tell you your manifestation is close. And I think it's so interesting because these numbers in astrology correspond to something, which I'll tell you about. But first and foremost, we have number 9, which says, it's your compassion that makes you shine. You are devoted to helping the greater good and have a strong talent for speaking up for others. Your soul is most satisfied when you are being of service. I am compassionate. So if you see like 999, number 9, this is a lucky number telling you that your manifestation is on its way. And number 9 in astrology actually corresponds to Sagittarius. Sagittarius in astrology is the card that talks about long-term travel. They are the adventurer. Okay. So Sagittarius, like that is the energy of wanting to like world travel. Then we have number 333, which says any positive changes or projects you are considering right now will be worth your while. Expect that your power to manifest and create will be heightened. I am expanding. And it's number 33, which is the master number, one of the master numbers. And number 3 is the number that corresponds to Gemini. Gemini also deals with short-term travel. So I do feel like this is a very like travel reading. It's very like has travel on the brain. But I think that's interesting because Sagittarius and Gemini are also each other's opposite on the zodiac wheel. So like they both deal with travel, but they are polar opposites too. But to me, Sagittarius and Gemini numbers, the numbers here, Sagittarius and Gemini of all of the combos. So like you have Capricorn and Cancer, they're each other's opposite. You have Virgo and Pisces, they're each other's opposite. You have Taurus and Scorpio, they're opposites. You have Libra and Aries, they're opposites. And then Aquarius and Leo, they're opposites. And then Sagittarius and Gemini, they're also opposites. I feel like all of the other opposites don't really work that well together. Sagittarius and Gemini, if you put them together at a dinner table, they want to be together. They are the 2 signs out of all of the opposers that I feel like actually really work together because they want similar things. They both love knowledge, conversing, traveling. I will say Sagittarius is more of an adventurer where Gemini is like, I'll take a little mini road trip. I'll stay close to home. Like it's not quite as far, but they work really well together and they both symbolize travel. So if you've been manifesting travel, please know that this reading, I hope, really confirms to you that you're going to get it. And I've given you some ideas on how to reach it. But I think most of this reading, I focused on you as a person. Like I talked a lot about who you are and what you do. But I feel like that was really what Spirit needed to give to you in order for you to hold this reading. So in any case, if this reading resonated with you, please leave me this emoji down below in the comment section so I know which pile you chose, and tell me what you've been manifesting and how it's been going. I genuinely take the time to read every response in the comment section, so I can't wait to see what you've been manifesting. If you would like to support me a little bit more and get some extra content for yourself, please consider supporting me on my Patreon. Every single week, I sit down and I channel astrology, tarot, and bibliomancy for you. And every single month, I give you the theme with tarot. And every single month, depending on which tier you join my Patreon at, I also do community events and we do bonus content, which can include things like vlogs, equipment overviews, extra pick a cards, extra astrology videos. My Patreon is such a good time and I would love to have you over there as a cozy babe. And if you want even more free content from me, please do consider checking out my podcast. It's called The Cozy Babes Club, and it is literally all things cozy. We talk about mental health. We talk about trends. We talk about everything under the sun. I love my podcast. It's such a great source, I feel like, of more from me, but just it's like where all the context comes together. So if you follow me on socials or anywhere else, the podcast to me gets like all the BTS. So definitely check out my podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Link for that down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and don't forget to stay cozy out there.